Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Woodbridge, the best town around. All right. That's a good way to start this off. My name is John McCormick. I'm the mayor of this terrific town, and we're proud to be here tonight for our annual WEDCO conference, the Woodbridge Economic Development Conference, which we hold every year this time of year. Things have come first circle. Back in 2007, we had our very first WEDCO meeting. Bill Northgrave is one of our redevelopment attorneys, sat right where he's sitting right now in front. As I was speaking, I was a little animated as I described all the different places in town that we wanted to knock down and throw out and get rid of, and I described them all as junk and crap and you name it. And Bill sat there counting up and said, okay, that's a lawsuit I'll defend, that's a lawsuit I'll defend. He did nothing to try to stop me, because he just figured all the fees he was going to make every time somebody sued me for calling their building a piece of junk. So thank you for being here. Bill, I'd like to introduce the dais. First up to my left, my right arm, best friend for 27 years since she was on the council and I was a town CFO back in the 90s, current chief of staff and head of our redevelopment agency, Carolyn Ehrlich. My left arm, our planning director, who I worked with in the 90s when I was CFO, and she was the assistant planning director, and now she's the planning director, been with the town for 35 years, Marta Levsky. The head of Sustainable New Jersey, Randy Solomon. And then our three panelists, who I'll get more into when we introduce them before our final session, Ed Russo of Russo Development. Sean Massey of New Jersey Transit, and Dan Laughlin of Jones Lang LaSalle. A couple of very quick introductions from our town council. We have Councilman Viru Patel from the 4th Ward, Sharon McAuliffe from the 1st Ward. I'll mention the WEDCO board very quickly. John Hoffman, Wilentz Goldman Spitzer, Jennifer DeJesus, Berkeley College, Robin Lefkowitz, Northfield Bank, Linda Mazzella, Raritan Bay Medical Center, Trent O'Drain, Wegmans, Alan Scholl, Atlantic Realty, Robert Durso, Remax Select Realty, Carolyn Ehrlich, ED of Woodbridge Redevelopment Agency, Marta Levska, Director of Planning, Valerie Montecalvo, President, Bayshore Recycling, and Bob Paulus, President and CEO of WIC Company, along with 4 retired members. You can retire, but we never let you go. Amy Bellisano, Woodbridge Center, Bob Sobieski, former councilman of Woodbridge, Dave Cirillo, Hess Corporation, and Ed Ryder, Prudential. I did just see my good friend Craig Coughlin, who is about to, in January, embark on his 4th term as the Speaker of the New Jersey General Assembly, and at that point he will have set a career record in the state of New Jersey. There's never been a 4-time Speaker. And keep in mind that they are voted on by their peers. That's not something you win a popularity contest of an election with the general population. That is something your peers vote on. So congratulations, Craig. I want to recognize Holly Church Doyle from the Woodbridge Chamber of Commerce. We have a whole bunch of township employees here. If you'd all just stand up for a brief minute. I don't need to introduce everybody, but there's a whole host of township employees here. I do want to mention 3 in particular. John Haggerty, our communications director, who put this event together. Megan Kushba, his assistant communications director, and Kelly with an IE Walsh, who both did a phenomenal job with the program and all the different things that have to go into an event like this. So thank you to you 3 very much. There's a whole list of sponsors. They're on all different publications and different boards. I want to thank them. They all paid several $1,000s to be sponsors for this event here. Thank you all for that. I thank you all for investing your $50 to come out today. And next year, we're going to charge $60 and put heat in the bar. You're here at the Avenel Performing Arts Center, which is something, Sharon, it's not that funny. You don't have to laugh just because the mayor said it. You were freezing. Oh, great. Thanks. Where was I? You're in the Avenel Performing Arts Center, which was a vision that we've had, mostly Carol's vision, way back in the mid-2010s, around 2015. We set up an arts committee, concerts, Woodbridge Choir, play group, you name it. and it just advanced into an actual facility. We visited New York and Philadelphia and everywhere, finding out what we wanted to get, and we settled on this. You'll see Carol's picture out there. She was the guiding force in putting this whole thing together. It opened up on April 10th, 2019. And of course, on or about March of 2020, COVID hit. And frankly, we haven't been the same since. We're finally getting back to hitting our stride. We got a whole lot of things happening in 2024, a full slate of events. Anthony Wilkinson's in the house. He is the head of this event, this facility. And of course, Curtin's Restaurant is a great facility when the heat works. And this is all possible because of our very first luxury apartment development project, which was right next door at Station Village, done by Atlantic Realty and Alan Shaw and the Halpern family. So when you build the luxury apartments, as you'll find out when we talk about Main Street later, things like this happen, and the Curtin's Restaurant happened, and more retail came. So this is just a fantastic example of what happens when things are good. Now, I'm going to take you now on a little 15-minute tour through Woodbridge Township. It's kind of like a preview for our State of the Township address, which is normally at the end of January. This year, I have a personal conflict, and I really apologize for this, but I can't do it at the end of January because on or about January 25th, my daughter, who's 33 and living in Denver, is going to have her first child and my first grandchild. And I am as excited as you can imagine, and I just couldn't have anything anywhere near January 25th. A week early, a week late, 2 weeks early, 2 weeks late, who knows? The mayor can't miss the State of the Township address. So we're pushing it back to the end of February, the 23rd at the Delta, 11 a.m. like usual. So please come out. Today, this will be a very quick preview of what's going on there. So with that, let's please start the video. First up, we show Strickland Steakhouse. If you haven't been there, you must go. It is absolutely tremendous. This is what we worked on for years. We actually, Carol and I, had to travel to Staten Island to visit the owner's West Shore Inn. Several times we had to go eat and drink on the job. It's difficult. Of course, that was the previous major announcement on downtown Woodbridge, and one that really put us on the map was Eric LeGrand's Coffee House. We all know what he's all about. This is the Madeira Apartments in our Parker Press Park, which was completely redeveloped and refurbished. This is downtown Woodbridge. Right there is my office where I look out on my kingdom. On the third floor there, right in the middle of the rotunda. And then we got a trip up Main Street. Main Street is about halfway there. It's going to be better, but we've made a whole lot of strides, and it's because of the apartments that came in. That's the Woodbridge Brew Pub. It was a $2 million investment by the owner, and then over $1 million on the patio outside, a brand new beer garden out back, a whole lot of renovations. It's absolutely beautiful. He's got more work to do. It's become a terrific place. He's got a sports autograph theme, and we got people coming from all over the state to the Woodbridge Brew Pub. That's just a view of Costello's, which invested before anybody else. They used to have the restaurant to the right. They built a new addition to the left right there. Then they built 16 apartments. They really were the first one. This one came at us by surprise. When Bob Durso said at one WEDCO meeting, we have pliables coming, I said, what the heck's pliables? Never heard of pliables. That corner was the worst corner in town. It was the karate shop that nobody ever went to. Now it's a Novo Blanche white clothing store and a bank and an eyeglass place. This is just a collage of all different things in town, all mostly grand openings. And you see everything that is happening in Woodbridge that we're very, very proud of. One of our cool projects for next year is our marina. We already went through this year and completely replaced the bulkhead and the piles, and we're going to turn that into a 200-person tiki bar right on the waterfront, Smith's Creek. It's not the bay, it's not the ocean, it's a creek, but waterfront is waterfront. People like to eat outside, people like to eat on the water. It's going to be called Anchors. That shows a whole lot of things. The dog park used to be in the top right. Now that's going to be new parking and a completely expanded dog park, a big park for big doggies and a little park for little doggies, boat storage and expanded parking at the bottom. The triangle there with the, what's the sextagon? What's 6 called? What do you call 6? A what? Okay, whatever you said. That's where the tiki bar is going. The whole brown area is going to be a wide open area covered by our liquor license. The rectangles up top are food trucks. We thought about a restaurant, but it'd have to be raised 16 feet. It's just not feasible. A restroom up there. The tiki bar doesn't have to be raised because it's flow through. So anytime the water comes up, it just can get through there. It doesn't have to be built on stilts. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. People are talking about it already. And then you see parking with trails and all different kinds of amenities. We've gotten millions of dollars in grants so far to do the project for the bulkhead, which was about $5 million. We now awarded a contract for $4 million to Macaulay Construction. So far, they look like an absolutely fantastic contractor, and they're going to be working on the tiki bar. They just delivered the piles. We're looking at a May opening. Could slip, but right now it looks good because I'm telling you, this developer is somebody that we really are very excited about. A wonderful amenity is on the bottom left. Over the creek, the county's building a bridge to connect Alvin P. Williams Park with our site. So people can park in our site, walk there. Right now, the only way into that park is a road not even owned by the county. It's owned by PSE&G. So it'll be nice to have a way to get into their park guaranteed without having to rely on that. This is going to be, other than the reason we're here tonight, which is Metro Park, this and Metro Park are the 2 major projects of 2024 that we are really, really looking forward to. You'll see a rendering of the tiki bar down here. Basically, it's a giant gazebo with 3 smaller gazebos attached to it. Full bar service, no bottles, all cans. Again, no restaurant, but food trucks with people running back and forth and bringing beers and bringing food and bringing drinks. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. I just talked about Station Village. This around is all the things that have happened in Avenel after Station Village was built. Rocco's Pizza refurbished. Feed Your Soul, Soul Restaurant. Avenel new. Avenel Pharmacy refurbished. Jersey Pizza Boys, brand new. Up there's a fitness place on the top right. There's, I can't see the, Sorrento's renovated. All kinds of things happen in Avenel because of Station Village bringing 500 luxury apartments and people with money who walk to the train station here. It's been fantastic for downtown Avenel. That was the first foray into that. And the second foray is Main Street. We'll get into later on. The third one's going to be Ford's. But Main Street, as I said, is about half done. We'll talk a little further when we get to that. This is a really exciting project on the corner of Route 1 and Route 35. It's vacant land now. It used to be Pier 1 Imports. It's been vacant for a long time. We battled with the owner, and we finally were successful in naming Wick Builders the redeveloper. Bob Paulus is here from Wick Builders. They're fantastic to deal with. They built the new Red Oak Senior Building, and they put apartments where that was downtown called The Park. They're doing the same thing in Ford's. But so far, they've landed Sprouts, which I never heard of. But when I said to Megan, my 27-year-old assistant communication director, she went crazy when she heard Sprouts. What do I know? We also have a Checkers. Am I saying it right? Sneakers? Checkers sneakers? Skechers. What do I know from sneakers? I got Grandpa sneakers. I got New Balance Grandpa sneakers. What do I know? But that's going to take that corner and really revitalize it to the, it's going to have 4 stores. 2 are already spoken for. The other 2 are big names too, but they can't mention it yet. But it's really going to be great what happens on that corner. And it's named Cloverleaf because it used to be the first Cloverleaf in the country at Route 1 and Green Street, and that was removed years ago, although I think the traffic probably flowed better there then than it does now, but that's just my opinion. Probably all agree. Now we're on Route 1 in Avenel. Wawa's a couple years old, but it replaced some of the most decrepit buildings in town, the ones I probably talked about back in 2007. Mom's Diner. Mom hasn't cooked anything, huh?
1 of 3.
1 of 3, all right. Bubba Coos Burritos, Smoothie King, White Oak Dental, a new Dunkin'. Nothing happens unless there's a Dunkin'. White Oak Orthodontics, Holiday Inn Express, University Orthopedics, Dr. Swan. All kinds of things happening on Route 1, again, because of the investment that started on Avenel Street, and there's a lot more happening on Route 1. I think next up we have Cambria, which is building that beautiful facility where the Star Motel, the City Motel, and what used to be, when I was growing up, Fitzgerald's Bar, then it became a place called The Spot. It's not a spot we had anything that had anything good about it, and now it's going to be a wonderful Cambria Hotels. That's what it looked like on these two facilities there is what it looked like. Nothing good on Route 1. Now, this is take a second to talk about. So, bottom right opened up as a medical marijuana facility by Mike Weiser and Compassionate Care Centers. He then sold it to Air Corporation, and we said, one's good. All the medical places were grandfathered for recreational. We were happy with that. 25 square miles, we have a place, it's on a major highway, that's fine. When the opportunity came to get rid of, I got to be careful, right, Bill, what I say here, to get rid of the Adult Variety Center, boy, this is tough. So, just to get rid of the Adult Variety Center, they actually made an arrangement, a contract with another recreational marijuana facility. It's right across Route 1 on the southbound side and down a little bit. Route 1 splits the town. We said, we'll take a second one Route 1 North, one Route 1 South. It'll be good. We'll do a second one, but only because of what we're getting rid of. It hasn't quite gotten as far as we thought it would have. We figured by now we'd be a lot further along. It just hasn't worked. Let's leave it at that. But if it does, and we can replace that with a recreational marijuana facility and have only two, because we don't want to be Denver. We don't want to be these towns that have one in every corner. We have too many vape shops as it is. We didn't control them early enough, but it'd be okay. It'd be okay. And we make a lot of money. This facility gives us $600,000 a year, plus the taxes they pay for us doing absolutely nothing. So that's good. Oak Tree Road is very underappreciated. There are stores there that are internationally known. The bottom right, Malabar Jewelers has 265 stores in the world, 5 in the country, 1 in Island on Oak Tree Road in Woodbridge, and more to come. Tanishq is very similar, international. There's restaurants on the bottom left. There's cash and carries on the top left. Oak Tree Road is absolutely stunningly beautiful as a downtown. And what it used to be, I grew up in Menlo Park Terrace, right near Island. I used to live 4 blocks away from there. And it was nothing to be proud of, Oak Tree Road in Island. Nothing we liked about it. Slowly but surely, the Asian Indian community is building it up to where it's a phenomenal asset now. It's probably, if not the premier downtown Asian Indian business district in the state, it's probably one of, at a minimum one of. So we're very, very happy, and we've provided more parking. We've provided projects to clean up the entire area as far as sidewalks and curbs and paving and whatever it takes. We are very, very happy with what's going on down there. Downtown's Fords, as I said. Olson Towers, just like Bob knocked down Stern Towers, put up new apartments and built the Red Oak for the seniors right next door at the old Forge Theater. We purchased that, and Bob is now building a new Olson Towers right next door to the current one, and then we'll knock down Olson Towers and Bob will build luxury apartments there. It's going to happen probably after Main Street is practically done. So Avenel showed us how to do it. Woodbridge is the premier site, and then we're following up with Fords. Just a few recreational things. Cypress Recreation Center has, the top right is just wonderful. It's Mayor Mac's Cafe. Kids from 18 to 21 who are no longer in school, but they're under the control of the school district, and they're in a program all on its own that helps kids learn basic life skills, helps them learn coping skills, and gets them, teaches them employment skills, and they go out and get jobs. Well, several dozen of them work in that cafe as greeters, as servers, as cooks. They work the register, they work custodian. These kids now have a purpose to wake up and go to work. And it's unbelievable what happens there. Also in Cypress, we have another program called Our House that's all over the state. and they handle kids from 21 and up, adults. Some of the adults there are in their 40s and 50s, and it's basically a day school from 8:30 to 3:30, so parents can drop their adult children off with special needs, go to work, come back and get them. So we are a town that really takes care of people with special needs. I could spend 20 minutes just on that. But this facility is phenomenal. Right around the corner, we're going to build, and I think that's the next slide, we're building Cypress 2, which is the two blue things up there are street hockey courts. We have a huge street hockey league in town, and now they have two brand new courts to play on. It's going to be a playground, it's going to be parking, and it's going to be renovated soccer field. This is land we got for free from Hess, literally got it for free. We worked with Hess for years, and when we were talking with them about how they're divesting, and they have a building in town, they have gas stations in town, they have the terminal in town, and they have the refinery in town, and they were slowly phasing out of everything, and we were very, very cooperative with them. And then one day we just said, hey, what about the old training center in Port Reading? What are your plans? They said, we really don't know yet. I said, how about donating it to the town? It took a while, and the Hess family donated the land and donated the building. So when you get that donated, you can spend a little extra improving it, and that's what we did, and it's absolutely terrific. It's right in the middle of Port Reading, and people absolutely love it. Warehouses are great. They produce a whole lot of taxes. They don't cost anything. We never have to do anything in a warehouse unless somebody locks their key in their car. We have to send a cop out to open it up. And maybe we do a few inspections every year. But we make millions and millions of dollars from the warehouses. It's all through pilot programs. You might be familiar with payments in lieu of taxes. The money comes in outside of basic taxes. We had $26 million in this current budget, which equates to almost $700 a house. If that was built into the budget, it wouldn't be that. So the money comes in outside the limits. We spend it on school improvements, which we'll touch on in a couple of seconds. And it's just great. We have record surplus levels. We have record revenue levels. The town's strength is because of Amazon, Arizona, Prologis. What's the top right? Paddock is, that's also Prologis. We probably have finished 30 redevelopment projects under Carolyn, Martin, Heather, and probably 40 more coming. And most of them are warehouses, which, like I said, are just wonderful. This is another beauty. This is the Woodbridge Waterfront Park. It is an ecological treasure. It's been finished, and the only thing that we're waiting for to open it is the approval of the DEP, which has to go through all of the paperwork. It was a contaminated site. It's got lakes, it's got streams, it's right on the Arthur Kill, or the Rowton River, I should say. It's got nature trails, it's going to have boating, hiking, you name it. It's a very unbelievable hidden resource in Woodbridge Township that should open in the spring.
Yep, Federal Business Center.
Oh, Federal Business Centers. Well, thanks. I know I saw Nicole Vishalia-Rogers. I don't know if I saw Peter Vishalia, but they have been amazing partners. They're next to us, and they've, in fact, donated land for us to run a boardwalk to connect right on the water down there, and that's not done yet, but that is going to be another hidden gem in Woodbridge Township. Nobody would know where this is if you even told them where it is. It's in Caseby on the Edison border, just past by CPV power plant, and what was our very first warehouse, which was RPS, now FedEx, all the way at the end of Industrial Highway. It's phenomenal. 6 senior centers. I think some towns around us only have one, but I won't name names, Edison. But we have 6. Senior housing, we have several different housing. I mentioned Red Oak, that's the one down there that Bob Paulus built. I had seniors crying when we opened that because it was such an improvement from a concrete jungle built in the 50s to a beautiful facility with larger rooms, amenities, clubhouses, weight rooms, things that they never anticipated, and they just absolutely loved it. And I hate making women cry. I could begin to talk about the school district and never stop, but we have an amazing relationship with them, and we passed a $57 million referendum in 2017. We passed an $87 million referendum in 2020. We're working on about a $60 million referendum for 2024. We built a brand new Ross Street School downtown. I think we did it right. We got the school before the apartments, so that people were renting the apartments, visiting the school and knowing where their kids would go rather than the other way around. So Ross Street School, top right, is brand new. Woodbridge Middle School, bottom right, was completely renovated to the point where you'd never think it wasn't brand new. Matthew Jago School in Seawarren, bottom left, had a gigantic addition. That's the school, magnet school for special needs kids. So they built 8 classrooms for special needs kids and freed up the space in the rest of the school for the regular population. Lafayette School, Skate School in Ford, same thing, gigantic addition. They used to have cafeteria, gym, and auditorium in one room smaller than this stage. Now they have all 3 separate. All that money came from the economic development projects. The school district borrows the money, and we guarantee the payment of the bonds from a percentage of the money we get from all the warehouse projects. It's unheard of in the state. No one does that. But we've always thought that a community is known by the schools it keeps, and ours were okay, but literally every time there's a referendum, they get better and better, and they get newer and newer. Arts, music, and recreation, which we talked about a little. Mayor Summer Concert Series, we're crazy with this stuff. We had 60 some odd last year, free concerts. This year we're adding Fridays. We'll have 70. So from Sunday night, which is country, Monday night is doo-wop, 50s and 60s. Tuesday night, my personal favorite is 70s and 80s rock tribute bands. Wednesdays is eclectic little different genres of soul and jazz and reggae and all different things. Thursday is our local bar bands. Friday is going to be our fun shows. We're going to have yacht rock and disco nights and different cultural nights, Irish nights. Dueling pianos, those kind of things. We're going to have 70 free shows. And just to keep us busier, on every Saturday in summer, there's going to be a 10 o'clock show, either every other week, a play for kids, and in between every other week, concerts for kids. So practically every day from late June to September, in fact, every day from late June to early September, there is something to do in Woodbridge Township, and it's usually related to the arts, between music and between shows. And people think we're crazy, but we are known for it. Anybody in the state, you talk music, people think of Woodbridge. People told us in COVID, we saved their summer. We put boxes out, we lined boxes, we made people separate, and we didn't miss a show during COVID, except one where the band had to cancel and we couldn't get somebody. But people say we saved their summer because we had the shows in 2020 during COVID. This place, as I talked about, not much more to say, but it's getting back to where it needs to be. We really got hurt by COVID. Couldn't fill the theater. People didn't want to come out. They didn't want to be inside. They didn't want to wear masks. We suffered for it, but we'll get back. Barron Arts Center is very much a hidden treasure. It's the first library in Woodbridge Township from the 1800s. Now it's a beautiful art center. It holds about 60 people, and we have very small concerts, poetry readings, little jazz shows. Gallery on Main just had its best day ever at our Winterfest on Saturday. It's a wonderful gallery. It's staffed by volunteers who have their art for sale there. So if you want to sell your art, you got to commit to a day every other week to staff it. And I'm telling you, it's stunning. And it's right on Main Street. We bought the club at Woodbridge back in 2018, made a whole lot of improvements to it, knocked out 4 tennis courts that nobody really used a lot, put in an ice hockey rink. The ice hockey rink is not shaped like that. That's just a picture. It's actually a rink. Weight room. We're putting in a new, there used to be a cafe there. We're putting in a new one now. It's called Barbells, kind of a mix between the bar and the weights. Probably, we have our inspection on Friday, could be open by sometime in December. This was a big investment, and we spent a lot of money on it, but it's very exclusive And by the time we're done with the renovations in the early part of 2024, it's going to be the premier health club around. The club is like a country club. Woodbridge Community Center is like a public course. That's same thing. It's got an ice rink. It's got a roller rink. It's got a pool. It's got a gym. It's got a track. It's got a weight room, cardio room, miniature golf, batting cages, more senior and kid oriented than the club, which is more mid-age adult oriented. But it was built way back in 2002, built in 2000 and 2001, opened in 2002. A wonderful, wonderful facility. And both the club and the community center now have more members than they've ever had. Couple other things, the LeGrand Park exercise equipment for adults, bicycles, Girl Scout Park with a trail, beautiful wildlife preserve. I guarantee you if you got dropped into Orros Wildlife Preserve and asked where you are in any place in the state of New Jersey, the last place you would think you are is Woodbridge. It's absolutely stunning, gigantic lake, canoeing, kayaking, hiking, scout projects to build all kinds of amenities. It's terrific. We're known for our parades, Veterans Parade, Light Parade we just had Saturday. If any of you are from Woodbridge, you saw it. It's just, you can't even describe it. People came from an hour away to watch it. Of course, my favorite, the American Irish Association's St. Patrick's Day Parade. And what we're here tonight to discuss, Metro Park, which is a huge development that the state announced last October. Governor Murphy came out to Metro Park for a press conference. I won't spoil anybody's presentation, but 14 months later, we have a planning board hearing in December to hear it on December 13th. So we've been behind this 100%, and we're going to hear from the people tonight. So for now, I'd like to bring up for a short speech Randy Solomon, who runs Sustainable New Jersey. Sustainable New Jersey is a competition. It's an organization that started a competition among towns to see who could be the most environmentally friendly. Carol, who does all the reading, came across it one day and said, there's this competition for greenest town in the state of New Jersey. Do you want to go in it? I said, I'll go in it, but you better win it. And we won it. And we won it every year, except the one year we didn't go in it because they convinced us let somebody else win. Dumbest thing I ever did. But every other year we've won it. We were just there in Atlantic City 2 weeks ago, accepting the award for most sustainable town. Again, they're catching up to us, but they haven't caught us yet. But Randy Solomon does such a phenomenal job with this organization. New Jersey's known for its environmental sustainability because of the Sustainable New Jersey program and Randy. It's the best thing that the New Jersey League of Municipalities does for all its member towns like us. It's just absolutely tremendous. Ladies and gentlemen, for a few short words, Randy Solomon. Good luck, pal.
Thanks, Mayor.
Yeah.
I hate speaking after Mayor McCormick. You always have to start off a speech with a couple jokes, and then just listening to him talk, I forgot my jokes. I was like, should I riff on the adult variety center or the weight room with the bar next to it? Like, that's a really good idea. So that the creativity in Woodbridge overflows. So I also want to note a few people I see in the room. So Northfield Bank and Bayshore Recycling are both sponsors of Sustainable Jersey, and we're really grateful. Sustainable Jersey is a partnership between, strangely enough, state agencies, businesses that operate in New Jersey, and municipalities that came together to try to solve problems. What is sustainability? I think most people think of the environment and climate change when they hear sustainability, but sustainability is just thinking about the future. We, as a people in New Jersey, have to live today as if the future mattered, and that is something that our government traditionally has not done a good job of in this state. And so I want to tell you a very brief, few choice words, Mayor, of sort of the history of Sustainable Jersey and how we came about, and also the role that Woodbridge has really played beyond just being our champion and winning our competition every year in building Sustainable Jersey and building the movement locally for sustainability. So New Jersey is a pretty unique place. I think everyone here is familiar with home rule. We have 564 municipalities. That's an improvement. A few years ago, it was 566. We're headed in the right direction. And I got my start, and I see Ann Babineau in the room, who she's on the board or was on the board of New Jersey Future, where I got my start. And we were trying to create a statewide regional plan to plan where development and investment from the state should go. Where should the pipes go? Where should the roads go? Let's bring the people into the downtowns, and let's keep the green places green. We all live in one place, work in another, recreate in a third, shop in a fourth and a fifth, and then we fight each other in traffic the rest of the time as we try to get from one place to another. It makes sense to have a regional plan to make this happen. When I was at New Jersey Future, we were working for a state law and a plan that would create sort of statewide oversight about where we developed. And we thought it would be popular. And we did a public opinion poll that asked people, would you be in support of regional controls that would control where development happens and what could curb traffic and bring down taxes? 80% of people said yes. And then we rephrased the poll. Would you be in control, would you be in favor of moving control from your town to Trenton on these issues? And the poll flipped. 80% of people are now against it. So long story short, the state plan did not have a really meaningful impact in controlling where growth went. So we decided, well, look, we need to think about the future. We need to plan things out. If you can't beat them, join them. So we partnered with the League of Municipalities and some leading mayors to sort of say, what can we do to utilize what's great about the system we have, which is the creativity and the authority that local governments have to move forward, but compensate for their weaknesses, which is that there's 564 of them. They're not that big. They don't have a flotilla of, PhDs and experts to address all the different problems. So they're not always the best. They don't have the most capacity to address things like climate change and flooding and all these other big issues. So Sustainable Jersey came about to give municipalities the technical assistance, the grants, the resources, and the guidance to address all of our big issues, from whether it's land use and development, energy, climate, how to redevelop downtowns, any issue where you think to yourself, if we don't solve this issue, I don't know how we're going to live in 10, 20, 30 years. And so Sustainable Jersey, each single one gives a very detailed, specific recipe for what municipalities could and should do to address those problems. So how are we going to make this happen? How are we going to get all these municipalities to do it? And where are we going to get the money? Well, we thought we'd get the money from corporations and from state agencies, and we get them to work together. And then all the municipalities would do it just out of goodwill. That's ridiculous, right? But so how are we going to make it real? And I have to say, when we launched the program, Woodbridge helped us make it real. Woodbridge, Mayor McCormick, former state treasurer, not like a guy you'd expect to be like out in the woods hugging trees. But when they came in and they started systematically doing all of our actions, implementing, did I insult you? Are you actually, I don't know. Maybe you are out in the woods hugging trees. You're a Boy Scout. Okay, you could be wrong. Could be wrong. Anyway, when Mayor McCormick and Woodbridge sort of adopted this program and started systematically implementing all of our recommendations and having success, it became a model for the rest of the state. And I have to say, I'm from Highland Park. Highland Park has a big reputation as sort of a progressive green town. But when you actually measure, document the things that the towns are doing, you see places like Woodbridge are leaving places like Highland Park in the dust. They're just implementing everything. And so because Woodbridge, without this big green reputation, came in and did all this stuff and had success, it made it safe for everybody else to do it. It made it realistic for everybody. It wasn't just Princeton doing it. It wasn't just Highland Park doing it. It was Woodbridge doing it. And I also have to thank this woman to my left here, Caroline Ehrlich. She's already been thanked plenty, but not only does she do all the, she was the person who spearheaded a lot of this work in Woodbridge. And as a thank you for that, we put her to work. We made her the chair of the Sustainable Jersey Certification Standards Committee. So, of course, Yes, she deserves it. So, you put a bunch of sort of academics and geeks and policy wonks like me in a room together with some environmentalists, and we think of what municipalities should do, we're going to come up with some stupid stuff. And so you need people like Carolyn and other municipal representatives in the room working together with us to keep it real. And so her main job is to be like, you idiot, we will never do that. No municipality would ever do that. Don't put that in the program. And so it's a really good collaboration between, again, state agencies, experts, and the practitioners on the ground to figure out what municipalities can and should do. And then we have entities like Northfield Bank and Bayshore Recycling and others that bankroll the whole thing with the state agencies. And then it's turned into a very prestigious competition, because if you implement the things that we suggest that you do, you can get points towards your Sustainable Jersey certification. And 80% of the municipalities participate. 30% of them are certified. It's been a massive success, and now it's spreading into other states. And so not only has Woodbridge been instrumental in making this real in New Jersey, but one of the first states to copy Sustainable Jersey was Connecticut. And so people in Connecticut were sort of like, we've seen your success. We hate to give credit for anything to New Jersey, and we certainly don't want to be seen as copying New Jersey. But nonetheless, we can't deny that this is working really well. Could you help us implement something similar? And so we were working with, again, a bunch of like academics and geeks like me who were trying to make the case to their municipalities and to their elected officials. How do we do that? Well, we brought Mayor McCormick to come in and basically, give a speech at the Connecticut version of the League of Municipalities conference to a packed room, and basically said, I'm the former state treasurer, I'm a numbers guy, I'm a no bullshit kind of guy, and this stuff works. And they ate it up. They ate him up, they ate it up, and it was a big part of why Sustainable Jersey is now in 14 states. And as a New Jersey native, it's delicious to me to see all these states having to copy us and sort of admit how awesome we are. So I just want to say thank you to New Jersey, to Woodbridge, thank you to our sponsors again, and on with the show.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much, Randy, for those kind words. One more time for Randy Solomon. Oh, some cars have to be moved, okay.
Mention Martha and Tom also as key implementers of Sustainable Jersey.
Oh, Martaleski and, of course, Tom Flynn, yes. All right.
So this is what we're going to ask you to do, Mayor. We can get these 4 cars. If we can get their keys, the valet will move them, and their keys will be waiting for them.
All right, if these 4 cars, the valet, give us your keys, the valet will move them, and they'll be waiting for you. Buick, B40PVF. Black Silverado, E91, NRN. Mazda P39, NRY. They must all be residents of the apartments. Lexus, S92LBR. Yeah, who's going to raise their hand now? All right, I guess that was the 4th one. Buick, B40PVF. Okay, Black Silverado, E91, NRN.
We promise we'll give it back.
Maybe not the Lexus. Mazda P39, NRY. All right, we got the Lexus. All right, now the reason we're here is to talk about Metro Park. It is the 2nd busiest train station in the state of New Jersey, behind Newark. Therefore, the 2nd most important train station in the state of New Jersey, behind Newark. Many years ago, the Governor Murphy, announced that he was prioritizing the Metro Park train station redevelopment and the Hoboken train station redevelopment. Hoboken got off the ground first, and that is underway. Last October, the governor came out here and had a pretty big press conference with people from all different areas, including the people who are here speaking. So I won't say anything else about this because I don't want to take away their thunder. One of our panelists is Sean Massey, who's going to speak first with New Jersey Transit. We have had a terrific relationship with NJT right here in Avenel. They agreed to bring more stops to this train station if we provided the riders. When you bring 500 apartments of people who commute, very few car drivers here, that's the ridership. They added 38 stops to Avenel, increased its stature as a train station. So they said what they promised they would do, they did. They spent a lot of money improving this train station. So they have been terrific to work with, and we have a great start to the Metro Park project. Behind him will be Ed Russo. We met Ed when they developed the Vermella project on Main Street at the former Hess site. It was land that produced almost no taxes, had solar panels. That was it. Now it produces over $1 million a year in taxes to us. It's 500 beautiful apartments. The amenities there are stunning. I'd love to live there if I didn't have a house already. And someday, if I ever do sell the house, that's the kind of place I want to live. It is got dog parks and gym and different rooms for different things. It's just, I can't even describe it. But we got to know Ed Russo, a man of his word, a very smart guy, very smart financial guy that we can talk to and deal with. And he was selected as the developer for the Metro Park project. I'll let Sean and Ed talk about how that happened. And somebody who I don't have a real long-term relationship with, but Dan Laughlin is a broker, I had your title here, I'm sorry, let me get it, with vice chair of Jones Lang LaSalle. They are the entity selected to market the Metro Park project. So we just got to know each other, and these three gentlemen here today to speak about how the project started. It's important to the state and the progress it's made, and just give you everything you need to know about this very important deal. So let me start with Sean Massey from New Jersey Transit.
Thank you, Mayor. We're okay to do it from here? Everybody here is okay? Wonderful,
Here.
perfect. Anybody who drives a Buick or a Lexus wish they had taken the train? Confess right now? Okay, come clean. We're trying to drive ridership wherever possible. Good evening. Thanks for having me tonight. And first and foremost, thank you to Mayor McCormick and you and your team for your leadership, both as it relates to the Metro Park project that we're here to discuss, and the broader, breadth of initiatives that you have going on at the moment. It's clearly full pedal to the metal. You're a model to the state and, the broader region. So we thank you for your leadership. It certainly makes it a lot easier for us at the state level to try to advance, the type of initiative at Metro Park that's contemplated. So very briefly on the history side, Mayor McCormick alluded to it. A lot of the genesis of this particular initiative that we're talking about tonight stems from the reform legislation that was passed in 2018, which basically, called on New Jersey Transit to, wherever possible, actively seek opportunities to pursue redevelopment of its land assets. We're very fortunate to have, in some instances, in most cases, surface parking lots located in close proximity to our rail facilities and bus as well. So where possible, actively kick the tires and explore where it might be possible to look at adaptive reuse. And so that was coming out of leadership from Governor Phil Murphy, his economic development team, obviously Speaker Coughlin, the legislature. There was collective buy-in to say, look, this is the most economically, environmentally sustainable land use and economic development land use pattern to be pursuing. Let's make it a priority. So it really did start with Governor Murphy and the legislature saying, New Jersey Transit, please proceed, with this in mind. And so we did. So following a scan of our real estate assets, some marketing analysis at the outset, we approached Mayor McCormick and indicated that there was some interest in pursuing a prospective project. And I think, one of our initial conversations, and, the mayor was right to be, skeptical. We're not in the land use development business, but, he realized that this is something that was a priority for the administration and for the long-term, viability of the transit agency. That he would actively, work with us to pursue a prospective initiative there. And I think the threshold that we were asked to clear at the start, just showing how sometimes keeping it simple is the way to do it, it really would be great if you could grab a burger and a beer at Metro Park, right? You get into Metro Park, there's really, nothing within, walking distance to stop, grab a bite before making a transfer, or if you're stopping, for an Amtrak connection, whatever it might be. So that was the basic threshold, bar that we were looking to clear at the outset. Let's create a place that's of interest, right? You're creating something where people want to be, make it a little more sticky, and so we set out with that in mind. And when you layer in the added benefit of all of the good things that come with TOD and concentrating smart infill development, concentrated transit, then you've got something that's going to attract the interests of somebody like Ed, where there are obviously economic opportunities, environmental benefits that inure to both the end users, the residents that are living there, folks in the surrounding area that can enjoy the community improvements that are made. So you really have a multiplier of benefits that are being fostered through infill development that's centered at the asset. So we started with that in mind, and we advanced forward with an open competitive procurement process. We basically stuck our finger into the air and said, anybody interested in potentially looking at this surface parking lot located in Metro Park, good news, compelling land asset. Bad news, you got to work with New Jersey Transit, right? The big bad state bureaucracy that you've got to figure out how to partner with. We're the first to admit that anytime you're layering in the complexity of dealing with the state, transportation operations, all the things that go with it, and Ed can speak to it as well, it's a challenge, right? Redevelopment, as I think most in this room know, on a good day is messy, complex, not an easy go. But when you add us to the mix, it's an additional, consideration, let's just say, that you've got to account for as you advance the conceptual planning, the implementation, and all the steps that go with, really realizing something that is going to be something worthwhile, that we're all proud of. It does not impact the operations, right? We're making sure people get to and from the station facilities and enjoy the connections that it offers, and that we can all collectively, say this is a good thing and it's worthwhile that we pursued. So we moved forward with an open, competitive, transparent procurement process. I think we originally started out with 14 firms, and over the course of 2020 into 21, early 22, whittled it down to a final 4. We did best and final offers. And we landed on a joint venture of Ed with Russo Development, Onyx Equities, and Denali Development. So a tri-venture that is, well positioned to advance the initiative that, Ed will speak to a little bit more in some detail here. And I think just 2 notes that I'll close on, just because I think it's important, because it's so highlighted based by the comments that the mayor made. These projects cannot happen without champions, right? I think, at New Jersey Transit, we've got very talented, capable staff, capable of being good partners with Ed or folks like Dan or anybody that might look to earnestly advance a project, but they really can't get off the ground because of the complexities that are involved with them without the leadership of your executive folks. And so that starts with Governor Murphy. It flows down to Kevin Corbett at New Jersey Transit. And because of having those champions at the state level, as well as a champion here at the local level with John McCormick and his economic development team, we're really positioned at the staff level and the project level with Ed to work through all the challenges that are so inherent in these projects. And you've probably got a notebook full of all the sticky stuff that's complex and we've got to work through. But I think collectively, knowing that there's support at the very top to grind through these issues that will invariably come up, it puts us in a very good spot to see them forward. So that's one. And then the second piece, because I know we've got a lot of professionals in the room, and whether there are other folks that are working in other municipalities or elsewhere, it's the capabilities, right? You've got to have a strong, capable, professional project team to advance these projects. Ed is certainly coming to the table with a robust team of professionals. We are very fortunate in New Jersey Transit because we've had the buy-in from Kevin Corbett at leadership to staff up with our legal counsel, outside economic, real estate advisors, et cetera. We're able to meet Ed at the table, work through some of these issues that warrant, working through, and ensure that we've got certainty with respect to delivery, what we're doing, how we're going to do it, and the broader implementation. Because the biggest risk to any deal, and Ed, you know it, Dan, you know it, is just the uncertainty, right? Anytime you're asking Ed and his folks to spend real money, they can't go in thinking like, well, I don't know whether this is going to leave me this week or next week, or if we're going to get a response to an email, or general buy-in to move something. So it's been critical that we've had capable partners both in New Jersey Transit, at the state level, and of course locally here in Woodbridge. Now everybody knows how difficult Carolyn and Marta can be to deal with, right? That's just a shared experience that we all have in this room. But we've overcome, haven't we, Carolyn? We've overcome? We have. I feel we have. No, they've been fantastic to work with. with. I wish every project that we had across the system, we could be working with Carolyn, Marta, and the team here. So we're excited to be where we're at today. Mayor McCormick, I thank you for your leadership, your partnership, for the support that we've had from the room here tonight. We do appreciate it. A shameless plug here, anyone who is interested in other projects across the system, we're open for business. Please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm easy to find. Be happy to hear from you. But for tonight, be glad to hand the mic over to Ed to speak a little bit more to this particular project. We're super excited to see it moving forward.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you, Mayor McCormick and Marta and Carolyn, for inviting us to be here tonight. I think we can all say that Woodbridge is a special place, and I don't think there's too many mayors. There may not be a single one in the 564 towns in New Jersey that are as passionate as Mayor McCormick. And our company's had the blessing of being able to experience that firsthand with the the Hess project that the mayor made reference to. It was our first development in the township, and started a couple years ago, and its final phase is just wrapping up now. And over 60 years, our company's been blessed to work in a lot of different great communities, but we were certainly really impressed and treated extremely well by Woodbridge throughout the entire process. Sean made reference to the challenges that you run into that are inevitable on any development project, and Metro Park, because of its very unique characteristics, is no exception. But what we learned very early on in Woodbridge, working with Mayor McCormick and Carolyn Martin and their entire team, Mike Galen, the town engineer, is that this is a town that no pushover. They know what they want and they know what's important to their community, but they're here to help and they're here to create value for business owners and residents in their town. So when Metro Park came about as a potential opportunity, we were, first and foremost, excited for the opportunity to go after it because of the experience we had in town. And really, we give transit a lot of credit. I mean, Sean's being modest. New Jersey Transit, with a small staff, has well over 100 transit stations throughout the state. Many of them are suitable for redevelopment. Metro Park, being one of the largest and busiest stations in the state, is one of the crown jewels, I think, in Transit's portfolio. But for Transit to take the planning initiative in the way that it did, I mean, dating back to early 2021, late 20, to really create a very collaborative RFQ, RFP process, take its time, create a vision for the site that wasn't just a blank slate like, hey, developers come in and bid. They gave some guidance in terms of what they thought the station property could be well into the future. And, we had the opportunity to work with them to ultimately be selected. And over the last, couple of years, it's been that long since, leading up to this point, it's been a spirited process, I would say, right? We've had our fair share of very granular, detailed negotiations regarding improvements to the station site, not just the development that we were proposing, which is truly mixed use. It's office, it's residential, it's retail. The mayor made reference to all of the wonderful projects that are being built in the town currently. Woodbridge is a large community, and the Metro Park site is probably one of the most visible properties in the township, and it warranted a very special development, not just because it's TOD, not just because it's on state-owned property, but because it's at the confluence of two of the major arteries in the town. And we felt the obligation from very early on to propose something that was of a very high quality. And Transit, to its credit, held us to a high standard, and really, even though we didn't always see eye to eye on every little detail of what should be built and how it should be built and the logistics around it, the end result of having an engaged state agency with a township that was very involved and candidly, our joint venture, our company, Onyx Equities and Danello Development, like we taken a personal interest in doing something at Metro Park that's special. So we all sort of shared the same goal of creating something unique And because of that, I think we've gotten to a point where we feel that the end result is certainly going to be a head turner for the people in the community. I mean, it's more than just two, very nice, state-of-the-art buildings. There's a lot of off-site improvements that are being proposed as part of our project along Middlesex Turnpike, which is the main access road into the station site, to improve vehicular and also pedestrian activity and connections to the property. There's a lot of improvements planned within the site. As many people go through Metro Park every day, it's been a while since there's been a wholesale, improvement to the site. I mean, the parking decks that are there, which are enormous, close to 4,000 parking spaces, were built in the 90s. And since then, there's been some improvements that have been made, but this project, I think, is providing the impetus for there to be something more substantial, right? A lot of hardscape, lighting, landscaping, and other improvements that people that might not live or work at the station but are just passing through can really appreciate and enjoy. So, we couldn't be more excited to be a part of the process. The process isn't over, but I think, we've made, a substantial amount of progress, and we're on the right track. We know that with the commitment that Sean laid out and with Mayor McCormick and his team's support, that there's no question this is a project that will be successful, and that hopefully will break ground here in the new year. And we look forward to brighter days ahead for the site.
Thanks, Ed. Mayor, nice to meet you and get to know each other better. Caroline, thank you. It's an honor to be on this panel. I'm going to talk a little bit about the office market, because the success of this project will really be, its destiny will be upon who the occupier of the building will be. So the office market in general in New Jersey has been under a lot of stress the last couple of years. It's experiencing a pretty high vacancy rate. But the one thing that's, notable over the last couple of years is that all of the major transactions, and in most cases build-to-suits, have all happened around train stations. And when you look at what's going on in Morristown and the new deal with Kentview and Summit, this site is perfectly positioned to meet what corporations and occupiers are looking for. They're looking for efficient buildings with great mechanical systems. They want access to talent and labor, and being near a train station broadens their reach for talent. And what's really kind of unique, I think, about Metro Park is it's a suburban market, but you've got this incredible train station that has access to Boston, New York, and Washington, D.C., and a lot of these corporate users, their reach to talent goes that far. And, I think Metro Park has always had a little bit of a reputation of people parking there and going into New York, but I think it'd be great to see, and it will happen, people reverse commuting from New York to Metro Park to work every day. So we're incredibly excited and energized to be part of the project, and I think it's a clear destiny for success. So thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Whoop. Hello? Help? Let me borrow yours, yeah. That better? Okay. So thank you to all of our panelists. I do want to mention one of our town employees that I didn't, and I should have. Heather Lamata is Carol's assistant redevelopment agency director. She's involved in everything Carol and Marta are involved in, all the meetings, all the visits. In fact, most mayors, when they send people out to job sites, they're big, burly, beefy construction guys, right? I send Charlie's Angels. I send Carol, Marta, and Heather, and you got to see them. They're each, vertically challenged. And they look so cute with their yellow safety vests and their jeans and their work boots. And they're hard hats, yellow hard hats. Did I violate anything so far, Bill? Am I good? They're all my friends. They're all among my best friends. And so those three they're well known because they're all very, very bright, very smart. Heather is a very big part of that. She's been with the town for a while. I've known her even before we started working together. She worked with us down in Trenton. I just want to give a special thanks to Heather LaMotta for the job that you do. And this is finishing right about on time, a little before 7, which is terrific. This is not a question and answer or press conference, but everybody up here is going to stick around. Please feel free to go back into Curtin's Restaurant and spend your money. So thank you. This has been a great, great presentation. Ed, Sean, Don, thank you. Dan, thank you very much. Randy, for the great things you said about Woodbridge, and of course, Carol Ehrlich and Martelewski and Heather LaMotta, thank you for all you do. We are a terrific town, and we're a great town to invest in because of the job that all of you do. Thank you very much.